There is an ancient secret that separates people who only learn from people who truly master. And today, you will understand why most people stay stuck at the beginner level in everything they touch, no matter how many books they read or courses they buy. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to progress at an unreal speed? They pick up a skill and within months, they look 10 years ahead of everyone else. They learn an instrument, start speaking a new language, build a business from scratch. While others keep circling around tutorials and never move past the basics. Most people explain this with one sentence. He is talented. She was born for this. That idea is comfortable. It gives an excuse. If success is genetic, then there is no reason to try seriously. The truth is different. There is a pattern that masters across history have followed, whether they knew its name or not. A path in 3 stages that takes a person from clumsy beginner to quiet mastery. You were never taught this in school. You were never taught this at university. Most online learning content skips it completely. In old Japan, this pattern was given a name. Shuhari. 3 stages, 1 direction. Mastery. Once you understand how it works, you stop becoming the person who starts 1,000 things and finishes none. You become the kind of person who can choose a skill and go all the way. But there is a price. This system will ask you to accept something your ego will resist with everything it has. Before we begin, subscribe to The Mindful Path, like this video, and tell me in the comments, what is the one skill that would change your life if you truly mastered it in the next 3 years? Write it. That is your first tiny act of commitment. Now, let us go back in time. Chapter 1. The Stubborn Student. The story I am about to tell you takes place centuries ago. In a small coastal town lived a young man named Ren. Ren had one dream that swallowed all his thoughts. He wanted to become a master of the sword. He was not born into a warrior family. He had no name, no status, no special opportunity. He had only obsession. While the others in his village fixed nets, carried goods, and accepted life as it was, Ren watched the passing warriors. The calm in their posture, the precision in their steps, the respect they received without saying a single word. He wanted that life more than he wanted comfort. At 16, with no teacher and no guidance, he carved a wooden sword and started training alone in the fields. Every morning before sunrise, he copied what he had seen from a distance. Diagonal cuts, vertical cuts, thrusts. Hours of repetition, day after day. 6 months passed. His hands were covered in blisters. His clothes were soaked in sweat. His progress was almost zero. The sword felt heavy and awkward. His movements felt disconnected and forced. Every session ended with frustration. Ren tried to fix this in the way modern people try to fix everything. He searched for information. He read whatever scrolls he could find about famous battles. He memorized lists of techniques. He learned heroic stories and the code of the warrior. On paper, He knew far more than any boy in his village. In reality, when he picked up the sword, his body behaved like a beginner. 1 year passed. Ren was still a village boy, swinging a piece of wood, drowning in theory and starving in skill. Until the day someone decided to interrupt him. Chapter 2. The Encounter. One afternoon, Ren was in a clearing, repeating the same clumsy cut for the 1000th time, when a voice broke the silence behind him. Your feet are wrong. Your grip is wrong. Your whole body is fighting against itself. Ren turned. Standing there was an older man, hair tied back, faded scars across his arms, a real sword at his side. His presence carried a weight that did not need introduction. Ren felt his face burn with shame. I am trying to learn on my own, he said quietly. I have no master. The warrior stepped closer and watched him in silence. How long have you been doing this? A year, Ren answered. Have you improved? Men said nothing. The answer was already in the air. The warrior took the wooden sword from his hands and studied it. You believe you are training, he said, but most of what you are doing is teaching your body to fail in the same way, over and over. Every wrong repetition becomes more permanent. Those words hit harder than any strike. A whole year of effort, and he had become better at moving badly. Ren swallowed. Then what should I do? I have read strategies and manuals. I know names of forms and stances. None of it shows up when I move. The warrior looked at him with a calm that felt almost cruel. You tried to build a tower by starting with the top floor. You chased knowledge before you had a base. You tried to be original before you were accurate. There is a way to learn, a path with 3 stages. If you skip them, you will spend your life collecting information without becoming skilled at anything. What is this path? Ren asked. Shuhari, the warrior replied. First you follow, then you break. Then you leave technique behind completely. Ren stepped closer. Teach me, please. The warrior studied him for a long moment. Come here tomorrow before sunrise, he said, and prepare yourself. The first stage will feel like an attack on your pride. Chapter 3. Shu, the Surrender. At dawn, Ren waited in the clearing. The warrior arrived with calm steps, as if he had walked that path 1,000 times. Today we begin Shu, he said. In this stage, you do not think. You do not improve the method. You do not ask for advanced secrets. You follow exactly. He took a stance, feet positioned with precision. Spine aligned, shoulders relaxed. Stand like this. Ren copied him. The warrior moved Ren's foot a little, rotated his hip a little, adjusted his wrist a little. Now breathe, he said. In through the nose, hold. Out through the mouth, again. They stayed there. 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Ren's legs shook. His back burned. His mind screamed. This is pointless. I came to learn real sword work. "Master," he finally said, "when do we start the real techniques?" The warrior turned his head slowly. "You want to reach mastery without enduring precision. That is the reason you have gone nowhere in a full year. Real power is built in tiny adjustments, not in dramatic movements." Ren lowered his eyes. "Shu is not here to entertain you," the warrior continued. "You obey until your body understands what your mind cannot handle yet. Every skill you learn later will stand on this foundation you now call boring." Days turned into weeks. Shu was posture. Shu was breathing. Shu was simple cuts repeated hundreds of times. No advanced cases, no fancy forms, no variety. Ren's ego hated it. His mind told him daily that he was wasting time, that he could be learning more impressive moves instead. But something quiet was happening beneath his frustration. His stance became natural. His arms moved in a straight path. His breathing stabilized on its own without conscious effort. One day, 3 months into this, the master demonstrated a simple horizontal cut. "This exact movement," he said, 1,000 times, without adding flair, without doing it your own way. The same movement until your body no longer needs your permission. Ren spent entire days repeating that single cut. On the 4th day, during one of the repetitions, something different happened. There was no thought, no correction. The movement flowed cleanly through his body, as if the sword already knew the path. From a distance, the master called out, "You felt it, did you not?" Ren nodded, surprised by his own body. "That is Shu," the warrior said. "You repeated something so many times that the skill moved from your conscious mind into the deeper layers of your nervous system. From now on, this cut belongs to you." Most people never get this far with anything. They become bored just before the skill settles. They switch to something new, then repeat the pattern. Shu demands repetition that feels unreasonable. That is why it works.
Chapter 4: The Trap of Endless Students. 6 months of Shu passed. Ren now had a handful of basic techniques that he could perform half asleep. Literally, the master woke him one night and told him to strike. His body moved before his eyes fully opened. Yet, something bothered him. He saw other students from nearby schools who could list hundreds of techniques. They knew long sequences. They could recite names of ancient masters. On paper, they looked far more advanced than him. In practice duels, many of them moved worse. Master then asked one morning, "Why do some warriors know so many movements but fight with less clarity than I do, with only a few basics?" The warrior smiled for the first time. "They live in the prison of eternal students," he said. "They collect techniques the way children collect toys. Every new move distracts them from truly owning the last one. They confuse information with transformation." He pointed to a nearby path. Knowledge is a map. Mastery is worn footsteps. Many people fall in love with maps and never walk. The master picked up a small stone and held it between his fingers. In Shu, You allowed your pride to die. You accepted that you knew nothing and copied without trying to be original. That gave you a base. Now you are ready for the second stage. Which is? Ren asked. Ha, the master said. Now you begin to break the form without disrespecting it. Chapter 5. Ha, the intelligent rebellion. In Shu, the master explained, you became a mirror. You did what I did. You took my form into your body. That was necessary. He drew a circle in the sand with the tip of his sword. This is Shu. These are the limits I gave you. You stayed inside them. Ha is when you begin to expand beyond this circle. He paused. Most people misunderstand this part. They think Ha means ignoring rules because they feel restricted. That is not Ha. That is laziness dressed as creativity. Ha begins when you respect the form so deeply that you understand why it exists. Then you can bend it with wisdom. That afternoon, for the first time, the master brought another teacher to the clearing. This second warrior moved differently. His stance was higher. His attacks were explosive and forward. For the next year, the master said, you will train with him as well. His approach contradicts mine. His principles will challenge everything you think you know. This is exactly what you need. Ren's mind felt pulled in two directions. In the mornings, he practiced low, patient, economical movement with his original master. In the afternoons, he trained sharp, aggressive, sudden movement with the new teacher. At first, he was clumsy switching between them. His body tried to combine them at the wrong times. His brain kept comparing. After months of this tension, something interesting happened. Ren began to see that behind the obvious differences, both masters were teaching the same invisible truths. How to generate power through the ground, how to stay present under pressure, how to read small signals in an opponent. The techniques were different. The principles were the same. You are starting to see clearly, his first master said. Shu gave you the forms. Ha is showing you the principles behind the forms. Once you see principles, movements become tools, not prisons. A full year passed in this stage. Ren was no longer a copy of either teacher. He began to create responses that belonged to neither school completely. One morning during practice, he blocked with a low, patient stance from his first master, then instantly countered with an explosive upward cut from the second master. Everything flowed. Nothing felt forced. Both instructors paused and looked at him. "What was that?" the second one asked. Ren hesitated. "I do not know. It just appeared." The two masters exchanged a knowing look. "Ha is now alive in you," the first said. "You are not rejecting what you learned. You are reorganizing it. You are no longer repeating like a mirror. You are choosing like a thinker." Then his voice became serious again. And this is where almost everyone stops. Chapter 6. The Wall. Before Mastery. Many practitioners reach Ha and believe they have arrived, the master said. They can adapt movements, they can mix styles, they feel creative, people praise them. So they settle. He looked at Ren as if weighing his soul.
Ha is a comfortable prison. Very few notice the bars. You have flexibility, but you are still limited by the techniques you know. You choose from what is stored in memory. That is still a cage. There is a third stage, Re. To reach it, you must give up something that people hold dear. You must release the attachment to technique itself. How can I fight without techniques? Ren asked. You will not fight without them, the master answered. You will carry them so deeply inside you that you can forget them completely. Then, something else will move. For the next years, the masters did something that confused Ren. They stopped teaching him new forms, no fresh lists, no new named techniques, only real practice with real opponents, different sizes, different speeds, different levels of skill. In each duel, Ren began by thinking of what to use. Now this stance, now that counter, now that combination. But the more he fought, the more tiring that thinking became. Slowly, an erosion took place. Labels dissolved. The movements were still there, but his conscious mind started to step aside. Chapter 7. Re. The quiet state. One day, Ren was put against 3 fast opponents at once. The fight began, and something shifted. He did not remember choosing anything. His body turned. His feet placed themselves. His blade appeared in the right place at the right time, again and again. When it ended, all 3 opponents were on the ground. Ren stood, breathing calmly, surprised at his own lack of exhaustion. He tried to recall specific techniques. Nothing came. He could not name what he had done. From the edge of the clearing, his master spoke. You finally stopped fighting inside your own head, he said. There was no voice shouting instructions, only response. That is Re. Ren frowned. But everything I did came from the techniques you gave me. Of course, the master replied. Re does not erase all that came before. It dissolves the separation. You and the skill are no longer 2 things. There is no gap between stimulus and response. It has become one continuous motion. Modern science has a way of describing parts of this. Researchers who study experts see something interesting in the brain. When a true master performs, activity in the areas that handle conscious decision-making becomes quieter. At the same time, deeper regions linked to automatic patterns become more active. In simple terms, the person is not thinking about what to do. The body already knows. That is Re. Not magic, not mystery. Just thousands of right repetitions carried out over many years until effort becomes natural expression. Chapter 8. The Path Beyond Swords. Decades passed. Ren was no longer the boy with a wooden sword and an impossible dream. He became a respected teacher. Students traveled long distances to ask him the same question. Master, how many techniques do you know? Ren always gave the same answer. Enough to forget their names. This frustrated some of them. They wanted a number. They wanted a catalogue. They wanted certainty that they would receive impressive lists. Ren had learned something that can only be understood from the inside. Techniques are pointers, not destinations. People become obsessed with the pointing finger and ignore the moon. One day, a confident young student arrived from another school. Master, he said, My old teacher can list 500 techniques. How can you be better if you say you know none and all? Ren picked up a wooden sword. Use your best technique on me, he said, the one you are proudest of. The boy attacked with a complex movement he had repeated for years. Ren made a tiny adjustment of distance, angle, and timing. In a moment, the boy was on the ground, weapon gone, staring in confusion. You used technique, Ren said gently. A specific pattern that you trained well. It works in many situations. I did not choose any technique. My body responded to what you presented. The answer was built in this very moment. If we repeat the same attack tomorrow at a slightly different angle, the answer may change again. That is the difference between mastering many named techniques and becoming skilled at responding. One is limited to what you remember. The other can create what does not yet have a name.
Chapter 9. How this applies to you. Ren lived in another time and another culture. You probably do not train with a sword. You might want to master something else. Guitar, programming, speaking another language, design, business, public speaking. Shuhari still applies. You want to learn an instrument, Shu, you copy. Songs, scales, exercises. You play them exactly as they are. You hold the instrument as your teacher instructs. You follow the fingering, the timing, the mistakes he tells you to correct. No improvisation, no my style. Only obedience and internalization. Ha! You begin to notice patterns, how certain chords lead into others, how rhythm interacts with melody. You take elements from different songs and combine them. You understand why a piece feels emotional or tense. You pick up the instrument and your hands move without you planning every detail. Music appears. You are not copying anyone in that moment, even though all your influences live inside what you play. You want to master programming. Shu, you copy code from people who are far ahead of you. You build small projects that already exist. You follow conventions. You do not try to invent a new architecture on day one. Ha! You begin to see why certain patterns solve certain problems. You start to adjust structures, refactor code, combine ideas from different sources. You experiment in controlled ways. You see a problem, and a structure appears in your mind almost fully formed. Your fingers simply fill in the gaps. You are not thinking about language features anymore. You are building solutions. You want to master business. Shu, you study models that already work. You copy funnels, offers, structures, not by stealing, but by understanding and replicating the logic. You execute someone else's proven framework with respect. Ha! You take what works and adapt it to your context. You see deeper principles, human attention, value, trust, emotion. You stop obsessing over tactics and begin to architect. You read the market almost like an opponent in a duel. You sense what will work before you can fully explain why. Years of exposure have trained your intuition. Shu, Ha, Ri. Observe, copy, obey. Then adapt, question, combine. Then act without inner noise. This is not an Eastern trick. It is simply the pattern the mind uses when it learns deeply. Chapter 10. The Modern Block. Here is the uncomfortable part. Most people today will never reach serious mastery in anything. Not because they are weak, not because they lack intelligence. They refuse Shu. They want to start at Ha.
Sometimes they even jump directly into in their imagination, claiming they are intuitive. They say things like, "I do not like following methods. I prefer my own way. I am more creative when I ignore the rules." It sounds confident. It sounds individual. In reality, it is often fear. Fear of admitting, right now I know nothing, and I need to copy someone who knows more than me. Fear of looking like a beginner. Fear of doing simple things repeatedly, while others chase exciting variety. Ren could have said the same. "Why must I imitate you so exactly? I want my own style." If he had done that, he would have stayed a village boy with a wooden toy, forever lost in theory. Our time has sold us a lie, that fundamentals are boring and optional, that self-expression should come first. The result is visible everywhere. People who know a little about many things and are trusted deeply in none. People who say, "I tried that skill, it was not for me," when the truth is that they never allowed themselves to pass through Shu. Let us drop the soft language for a moment. The reason you have not mastered that skill you claim to want is often not lack of talent or time. You have not yet accepted the price. Repetition that feels ridiculous. Imitation that humbles your ego. Patience that stretches over years, not weeks. Shu feels slow. Shu feels unoriginal. Shu feels like the world is moving on without you. That is why almost no one commits to it.
Chapter 11. What you need to do now.
This is the part people want to skip, yet it is the only part that matters. First, choose one skill, not 3, not 10. One skill that, if mastered over the next 3 years, would significantly change your life. Second, find someone who is already truly good at it, not a celebrity, a real practitioner. They do not need to be the best in the world. They only need to be far ahead of you and grounded in reality. If you cannot access them personally, choose one main teacher online, one voice, not 20. Third, enter Shu deliberately. Copy with precision. Follow their exercises exactly. Practice the basics so much that people around you question why you are still on the basics. They will say it is boring. They will say you should skip ahead. Smile internally and stay. Fourth, when the fundamentals truly live in your body or mind, move into Ha. Expose yourself to other teachers and approaches. Compare, combine, adjust. Ask deep questions. Experiment inside projects that matter. Fifth, stay here for years, not months. Years. Sixth, one day you will notice something subtle. You are performing without feeling that heavy, conscious effort. You respond smoothly. People will ask you how you do it, and you will struggle to explain. That is the early taste of Ri. Chapter 12. The Master's Last Regret. Ren lived a long life. In old age, surrounded by students, one of them asked, "Master, do you regret anything on your path?" He closed his eyes for a moment. "Yes," he said, "I regret starting alone. I wasted a full year pretending I could build my own way without guidance. If I had accepted Shu under a master from the beginning, I would have gained an extra year of real mastery. No amount of money can buy that time back." He looked around at his students. "Do not repeat my mistake. If you want to master something, find those who already did the work.
Follow without shame until your body carries the basics without your permission. Originality will come. It always does for those who stay long enough. 3 days later, he died peacefully. His greatest gift to them was not a collection of techniques. It was a path. Chapter 13. The Mirror. You might think Shuhari is only about skill, sword, music, code, business. In reality, Shuhari reveals something about you, the impatient version of you. The one that jumps from idea to idea is not weak or evil. It is simply addicted to the feeling of starting. That version does not have the patience to repeat a boring exercise 1,000 times. That version will always remain surrounded by half-built abilities. There is another version of you, a quieter one. This version accepts that being a true beginner is not humiliation. It is clean. This version is willing to sound bad, move badly, and look clumsy, long enough for patterns to settle. This version does not chase shortcuts because it understands that the longest road is often the only road that actually arrives. Both versions already live inside you. Shuhari is not just an ancient model. It is a mirror. When you look at your current approach to learning, what do you see? Someone searching for tricks, hacks, instant formulas, or someone finally ready to do what every master before you had to do? Shuhari. Follow, understand, transcend. The path is old. The path has been tested many times. The path still works. The question is no longer, does this system work? The question is, will you walk it, or will you spend the next 5 years restarting from zero? If this video gave you a deeper understanding of learning and mastery, subscribe to the Mindful Path and activate the bell so you do not miss what comes next. Now tell me in the comments, what is the one skill you will commit to mastering through this path? Write it publicly, then close this video and take your first small step into Shu.